Warning! We are about to spoil Scream 2. If you haven't seen the movie and you plan on watching it, leave now and come back later. But if you have seen it, or you just don't care, then please, stick around.
You have one missed call from Billy Loomis.
You know who else is a serial killer, Sydney? My mom!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another spoopy episode of Cinema Roulette.
Hi.
Hello. How are you today, Justin?
See, my brain almost went with a very honest answer, but we don't need to share everything on the internet.
Exactly. Good answer. All right.
But hey, the wheel decided to finally land on something we haven't touched since we started this wheel around episode 56.
And what episode are we on now?
This will be 212.
Yeah, the wheel's RNG is just that wonderful.
All this time, we have not touched Alien.
Nope. We have, what, 2 more after this?
We have the spin at the end of this episode and the spin for next episode.
And we don't land on Alien, we are taking it off the wheel. For now.
For now. We might make it a Halloween thing, or we'll do something else with it. Who knows?
Exactly. But we're not here to talk about that horror franchise. We're back at it again with another horror franchise from the man, the myth, the legend, Wes Craven.
Yeah, because with Alien, in space, no one can hear you scream. 2?
I know, Silence. You don't have to be so judgmental.
Yeah, it's a great way to start your podcast with 2 bad jokes.
Yeah. So yes, Scream 2, which I think we both are on the same page with this, where when we first watched it, we remember liking it a lot more than we did now, honestly.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw it, I loved Scream. I thought Scream 2 was my favorite Scream for a good while.
Mm-hmm.
But not this rewatch. I rewatched it a bit before we got to here, and I was like, huh, the pacing's a bit off. But we'll get to it in a sec.
Yes, we will. Yeah, I was basically the same way, where I liked it upon first watch, but I rewatched it, I think, a couple years ago. I forget when, and I was just like, this hasn't aged as well.
Yeah, it's a bunch of little things about it. And I know you looked up some criticisms after we watched, and I do disagree with one of them, but again, we'll get to that.
Yes, we will. Yeah, there's a couple of them I do disagree with as well.
Well, I watched a bit of the commentary. I didn't sit through all of it because I got busy.
Oh, nice. Anyway, shall we get to the synopsis?
Yes.
Hooray!
I was going to make a Back to the Future joke, but I don't feel like it.
That's fair. Wow, you're making a Back to the Future joke now and not in the openings of them? Now
we had to stay on theme. That's totally what we were doing.
Exactly. I was like, yeah, good job, Cameron. Now you think of something.
So we open on opening night for Stab, a Robert Rodriguez retelling of the events of Scream.
Was it actually Robert Rodriguez they had? I forgot about that.
I forget if it's this movie or in the later movies when we see more Stab sequels. It's produced by Robert Rodriguez.
That's great.
But it's a date night. We see this couple. The girl doesn't really want to go in because it's a scary movie. But the boyfriend's like, the tickets were free. Let's just go in. Who cares? Which also, remember when theaters could give away free tickets and also apparently full costumes to everyone who comes to the midnight screening?
Oh, I know, right? Like, back when they could afford that shit, I guess, when the economy was better. Like, these aren't just like, oh, here's a mask and a knife or something. No, these are full, like, bags, Spirit Halloween, like, full cloak and everything costumes. Like, how the hell did you afford? We're back.
Editing is weird.
Yeah. You're saying, did you finish the fun fact about the theater? I forget.
I'm pretty sure I did, but in case, editing, Justin, do what you want with this. Uh, we will see this theater again in Nightmare on Elm Street 4 because it's used in a dream sequence.
Oh, that's cool. Nice.
I don't think it's a direct reference to this movie. It's just they happen to use the same location.
Yeah, that tends to happen with movies. A lot of the same sets and locations used.
But the two go into the theater and it's pandemonium. Everyone is way hyped up about this movie premiere.
Yeah, this is like basically a midnight screening of like Rocky Horror Picture Show or something where it's just chaos and it's wonderful.
Honestly, kind of shit for like the first premiere of the movie if you want to actually sit and enjoy it.
Yeah, where everyone's screaming and jumping up and people are just like, oh, go get him. This is the part where this and this is the part where this.
Chasing each other around with the fake knives.
Yep. Just absolute chaos.
But we basically see a recreation of the opening of first Scream, but now with Heather Graham at playing Casey Becker. Sorry, I was trying to think of how to segue and how to do my job.
Yeah, you're good.
The girlfriend, played by Jada Pickett Smith. She's like, you know what, fuck this. I'm gonna go get a drink and some popcorn. She goes out. There's still pandemonium going on. She somehow pays for her popcorn without being told the price or putting any money on the counter. Guess it's free too.
Yeah.
But right while she's heading back in, Ghostface jumps out of the closet. I'm kidding. It's her boyfriend.
It's a fake out, of course. A classic trope in horror.
He was just being a dick. He goes to sit down. He heads off to the bathroom. Sadly, two Ghostface are taking up the urinals, so he goes into a stall and then starts hearing something weird in the stall next to him. So, like a normal person, he puts his ear against the door of another stall. But this is the real Ghostface, and they stab through, hitting him, just braining him, basically.
Yeah, just stabbing him right through the head. It's pretty rad.
He's dead. Ghostface waits for the other two to leave, who didn't wash their hands. Gross.
Ew.
But then we cut back to the girlfriend. She's sitting there, and Ghostface dresses up in her boyfriend's coat, but still wearing the mask. Sits down. Something makes her jump. She grabs onto her boyfriend, then looks at her hands. They're covered in blood, and it's not her blood. He's confused for a moment, then Ghostface pulls out their knife, stabs her in the stomach, and since the theater's going so wild and everyone's already been chasing each other and pretending to stab each other, no one really sees what's going on. She goes to the front of the theater while Ghostface stabs her, I think it's 2 more times. There's even a little shot I love of one of the stabs clearly gets blood on someone, and they like check their arm and they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But he climbs up onto the stage in front of the screen. Everyone goes quiet because they realize, oh shit, something's wrong.
And then thwap.
And she falls. And then we get Scream 2.
Ah, so 90s.
It is an awesome opening. Like, even when we get into the negative parts of this movie, this opening kicks a lot of ass.
It's really fun. I really dig it.
It really set the bar for what other Scream openings are.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
I forget how good Scream 3's opening is.
I do too. I've only seen it like once in full before. I saw it partially on a movie set, but yeah.
Yeah, I've only seen it. I might have seen it twice. I only remember watching it once. All I remember is the fax machine.
And the window scene. Bad vibes.
Oh, the window scene. That is probably the scariest scene in Scream.
Yeah, I agree.
But we'll get to that another time.
Yeah.
Back to this, where we cut to Sydney. She's in college now, and he gets a call on the phone asking what her favorite scary movie is. And she checks the caller ID and says, fuck off.
Oh, you can do that? Man. Yeah, the caller ID was kind of just becoming a thing around this time.
Yeah, and we see that Sydney has grown either jaded or at least a little more comfortable with the events that happen in the first movie.
Yeah, everyone comments on like how she's all fucked up and like, oh no, I'm fine. Yeah, that face reads fine.
Yeah, you seem totally fine and not on the edge of fucking breaking.
Mm-hmm.
She also has a roommate named Haley, and we first see on the TV that Con Weary, yes,
Yeah.
Con Weary, who was originally arrested for her mother's murder, is now free since Billy admitted in the last movie that him and Stu actually killed her mother.
Mm-hmm.
And Con's just kind of on a press tour.
Yeah, really in it for himself.
Yeah. Haley's trying to convince Sydney to come to a sorority party, and he's like, "No, I'm good. I'm fine."
Mm-hmm.
But a girl in the hallway is like, "Hey, go check the news." And they hear about the murders. Immediately, Sydney's like, "Fuck, where's Randy?"
Yep.
We cut to a film class where we get a couple of characters of Randy, Cece, Peter's here, and Mickey.
Yeah, exactly. So we have Peter and what was the actor's name again? It's Josh Jackson.
Josh Jack.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have Josh Jackson who played Josh Jackson. Hold on.
I know, I slipped it up on it too.
We have Josh Jackson who played Peter in Fringe, and we have motherfucking Timothy Olyphant.
Who looks like a young Jack Nicholson.
He really does in this, yeah. And I love Timothy Olyphant, but like he is really young in this. It's great. So we have him, and we have Peter, and we have Randy.
We also have Cece, Sarah Michelle Gellar's character.
Right, Sarah Michelle Gellar, because she was pretty hot shit back then.
Which also, this scene is technically one of the last scenes shot because they wanted to reshoot it.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Huh.
And I will have to explain that later.
Yes. But now they're talking about films and arguing about them.
Yeah, they're arguing about sequels. That there are no good sequels, but there's Aliens, and there's The Godfather Part 2, and da-da-da-da-da.
Yep.
Actually, funny thing here, Joshua Jackson says "Get away from her, you bitch," when talking about aliens, which is the correct line.
Yeah. And then Randy tries to correct him.
Randy tries to correct him, saying, "Stay away from her, you bitch." What happened is Joshua was supposed to fuck up the line, but he fucked up by saying the correct line, and the actor playing Randy just rolled with it and said the wrong thing to keep the take.
That's great. So he kind of like made it look like he was the one who fucked it up instead of him. That's interesting. I didn't. Oh, wow.
Jamie Kennedy, that's his name.
Jamie Kennedy. That's right. Yep.
But Sydney stands in the doorway of class, and Randy's like, "Oh no, what's going on?" So they have a chat about the murders, and for some reason, Randy's talking in a British accent.
I think he was trying to make a joke, but then he like rolls with it for just slightly too long. I'm like, okay, what is this?
Yeah, it makes him seem like he's not taking it seriously, even though he should know, hey, sequel-wise, sequels happen in horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
You also meet Derek, Sydney's boyfriend. And Randy doesn't really like him because he wanted to get the girl.
Yeah. And the boyfriend looks weirdly like the one dude.
Like Khan, yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't come into
It's just an
this
interesting
isn't
thing to
going to be
mention. Yeah.
a Tenebrae, but it's just a weird thing about it.
Yeah, it's just an interesting thing to mention. That's why I brought it up now. I'm like, well, that's about it.
We also see Gail again. She now has highlights in her hair, and also her new cameraman, Joel. Gail meets someone named Debbie Salt, who went to one of her press tours and wants to learn from her. And even Gail's like, "Look, I understand you're doing this whole shtick, but it's really obvious. I need you to back off while I'm doing my job.
Mm-hmm.
Sydney also spots Dewey on campus and runs up to him. He now has a limp and his hand is kind of stuck in a weird position because the stab cut it from the first movie, cut a nerve.
Yep, and this is interesting because he has a limp throughout the entirety of the rest of the series.
Really? I didn't know it stayed for the entire series.
I'm pretty sure it does. Like, he has a limp throughout all of the rest of the movies, so
Interesting.
just good attention to detail.
But they catch up a bit. Dewey was just generally worried about Sydney after hearing the news of the murder.
Yep.
So he's going to stick around to help the cops any way he can. Sydney goes back with her friends, but Gail comes up and tries to spring an interview between Sydney and Khan right on the air. Sydney's a bit pissed about this, mainly because A, Gail wrote a book about everything that happened in Scream 1, making millions off it and kind of shit-talking everyone.
Mm-hmm. Especially
and
Dewey.
Is now back. Yeah, especially Dewey.
And he is none too pleased
and
about
it. Is now back and trying to get this hot interview between the two, which Sydney responds in her normal way of punching Gail in the fucking face.
I thought she slapped her in this, not punched.
Oh, yeah, it's more of a backhand slap, but still.
Yeah. In the first one,
it's
she
enough to knock her over.
Yeah, because I know in the first one, she just straight up decked her.
Like, people try to hold her back.
Yeah.
Her friends try to hold her back, and then Gail said something to set her off.
Mm-hmm.
Khan is also kind of shocked by this because Gail promised a normal interview, and he's like, what the fuck? You said this was set up. Why is she so angry?
I was promised 10 minutes, damn it.
I like that he's like, he is clearly wanting attention and kind of a dick about it, but also there is a genuineness of he doesn't want to make it just about him. He at least wants Sydney to be involved.
Yeah, exactly. There's at least part of him that wants Sydney to still be there, even though he's just being a complete cunt about it.
Yeah. Gail also runs into Dewey at this point, and Dewey is clearly pissed at her because he thought they had something, and then reading the book basically called him a doofus. So they're not on the best of terms at the moment. Either way, Sydney is dragged by Haley to the sorority girl party. And yes, we see Matthew Lillard in the background. He was just on set, guys. It wasn't supposed to be him being alive.
Yeah, we get it. We get it.
But yeah, they're having some decent fun at the party. And then we cut back to Sydney's sorority house, where Cece is all alone. And he gets the call. Of course, the killer's being all creepy on the phone. He hears movement upstairs, is about to run off and call campus security, but the phone only works in the house. She goes back in, leaving the front door open, and someone comes out of the closet. It's someone who lives here.
Mm-hmm.
She was just grabbing some things for the party.
Yeah. It's like, what are you doing here? I live here.
But while the two are talking, we see Ghostface sneak into the house.
It's a pretty fun sting.
Yeah. After the other sorority sister leaves, Cece, he gets a call again, starts to get chased, goes upstairs, gets stabbed, and tossed out the fucking window over a balcony and killed.
Just yeeted off the balcony, literally. Ghostface just picks her up and whoop.
I do like the reasoning of her staying inside since the phone only works in the house, because she tries to call campus security, but it's too staticky outside in order to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. It actually gives a reason for that trope of don't go back into the house, then you'll get killed. You know, the killer is always waiting for that. So, no, it actually gives a legit reason, like the Wi-Fi router is such shit that you can't go outside the house and make a call. So,
I will say, though, since in a moment we're going to see the party is told about the death and people go right outside to see what's happening. It was right across the street. She could have just run over there.
guess she was too lazy.
No, you need to call campus security from here.
Yeah.
But yes, the party is told. The party bails out to go see all the hubbubs about Sydney's getting her things, and then the phone rings.
Mm.
She decides to answer it, and of course, it's Ghostface taunting her. But they do a bit more than taunting because they start to attack her, chasing her through the house. She runs into the backyard and runs right into Derek's arms, who just happened to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Derek runs inside to go after making sure Sydney's okay. Oh, okay, to be fair, Derek was at the party, but he disappeared when Sydney went to answer the call.
Yeah.
Dewey also shows up, and he runs inside, but only finds Derek on the floor with a cut across his arm.
And I also gotta say, I absolutely love that part where she's on the phone with him. Or is this later? I might be thinking of later.
No, it's this scene. I forgot what he said, though.
Yeah, where she's like, why don't you show yourself, you coward? And then he's just like, my pleasure.
Oh, yeah, they just right in the door.
Yeah, I love that.
However, still not my favorite call with Ghostface. That's actually in Scream 6.
Interesting. Yeah, I know you said Scream 6 was pretty good.
Oh, it has a fantastic moment with Gale.
Nice.
We will get to it.
Indeed we will, and I'm excited.
Yeah, wait. We go to the police station and the hospital so everyone can get patched up. It is interesting, too, that Derek got cut in such a way that it missed all the vital veins in his arm. Even Dewey is putting suspicion on him, which Derek tries to reflect back at Dewey, but Dewey showed up after Derek ran in the house.
Yeah.
From the back of the backyard, so I don't know how that would have happened.
Exactly, so kind of bullshit. Also kind of bullshit how Ghostface happened to go out of the house and no one fucking saw him.
Yeah, Ghostface somehow ran out the front door, even though there's apparently a group of people out there with the cops, but whatever.
Yeah.
We also did see Gail and... I'm forgetting her name already. We saw Gail and Debbie also showing up to the crime scene of Cece.
Yep.
At the police station, we see Dewey and Gail, and they're going over the victims so far, and they realize everyone's name connects back to the original murders in... Fuck. What's the town in Scream 1?
Hold up.
Woodsboro.
Woodsboro, yeah, Woodsboro, California.
So it's following all the deaths of Woodsboro in order. Like the boyfriend at the theater had the last name Stevens, like like the football player killed at the beginning of Scream 1.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if it's like first name or last name. It's a single word in a part of a name. So it could be last name, first name, and Gail sees all the names and connects the dots.
Which just impresses the sheriff, but Dewey's still pretty pissed at her.
Mm-hmm.
Sydney is also pushing Derek away because she doesn't need another murderous boyfriend.
Yeah.
She also has 2 bodyguards now who I'm sure they'll be helpful. Cops are always helpful in horror movies. And then the worst scene of the movie, possibly the franchise, happens.
Yeah, let's get this out of the way. It's the infamous musical number. Everyone mentions it. Everyone makes fun of it. It's bad. Moving on.
Well, I do need to talk about because there is somewhat of a plot point here. Also,
Yeah.
all the actors didn't like doing the scene either.
Yeah, even the guy who sang, like, apparently, like, regretted it.
Yeah, just no one liked the scene. It becomes even more pointless. But the reason this happens is, I guess, showing his vulnerability by having this silly song number makes Sydney think, okay, maybe Derek isn't the killer.
Yeah, like, she's smiling. She's clearly amused by it. She's probably thinking, oh, no, do I actually like him? It's just...
It turns out Sydney is also taking a theater class, and she's starring in some Shakespearean play, and she's debating dropping out for her own safety or the safety of the cast. The teacher there, though, is kind of warms her back up into it to being a fighter, and also he even jokingly says, no, I don't have an understudy. I'm very desperate.
Yeah.
But they do a rehearsal of the scene where a bunch of people are pretending to stab at her. However, Ghostface is also there and almost gets at her, but she kind of pushes herself onto the floor and screams, which makes him run off.
Yeah, he does go out the door. You see that.
Derek comes to pick her up, but him getting there so soon makes her too suspicious and pushes him away, making that scene of him singing even more pointless since this is less than 10 minutes later.
Yep. So not only was it stupid, it ended up being a moot plot point. Great, good job.
Yeah. Cut to outside in the courtyard. Gail, Dewey, and Randy are all talking about who the possible killers could be. The cameraman was also there, but he leaves. He's not gone forever yet, but he does leave. And then they get a call as Ghostface taunts them. Randy keeps Ghostface talking on the phone while Gail and Dewey assault anyone who has a cell phone.
Oh yeah, they're running around trying to look for the guy, and like they straight up just tackle them. It's like, who are you? Whoa, give me that phone. Let me talk to him. And they just tear their phones away and talk to the people. And it's like, shit, it's not him.
I do love the last guy where it's like, no, you can hear him still on the phone after he gets it back and just goes, no, Mom, I'm fine.
Yeah, he's like, this guy just ran up and punched me or tackled me. It's like crazy. It's kind of great. Some of the background talk is funny.
Randy starts going off about how much of a fucking loser Billy Loomis was. And then it turns out Ghostface is in the news van Randy has his back to. He gets grabbed and cut up and back, which no one hears because 3 students with a big old boombox come dancing by and playing too loud for anyone to hear.
And it is like the most 90s ass like music playing on that fucking giant boombox as he's walking by looking all cool. It's hilarious.
I do hope that was supposed to be funny.
I do hope so too, because it was ludicrous.
No, I think it was a different person.
That what?
Because of the singer Ludacris.
Ah, thanks, Brain.
That was a terrible joke. I'm cutting that anyway.
Oh, okay, you're gonna cut that joke, but you're probably not gonna cut my jokes. Thanks, Justin.
You don't ask for them to be cut.
Shit.
Yeah, Randy gets fucking killed. Gail, Dewey, and Joel find his body. We cut to Sid in the library, and she starts getting threatening email or like instant messages because all the computers in the library are connected.
Wow, instant messaging, the thing of the future, man.
Hey, it needed to be explained in a movie that came out the same year with Perfect Blue.
That is true. Anyone remember AOL Instant Messenger? No, just me? Okay, yeah.
Old ass man. But Sydney's guards put her over by the stairs while they try to find who was possibly sending the messages. However, this puts her right near Khan, who's like, hey, I have an interview set up. If you come on, we can both make a lot of fucking money. But he's being very forceful.
Like really forceful, like not only blocking the way she goes, but like grabbing her shoulders and getting right in her face. It's kind of crazy.
Which her guards do see this and arrest him, but after talking with him at the police station, they can't hold him on anything. They don't have any evidence.
Yep. And fun fact, the chief... Oh, sorry.
No, you can continue.
I was going to say, fun fact, the chief is played by... who's the guy who plays Dewey again?
David Arquette.
David Arquette. It's played by David Arquette's father, so that's really cool.
Yeah. After this, Joel fucking leaves. He's like, I read your book. Your cameraman got gut chopped up. I don't fucking want that. I'm going.
Well, he didn't technically get gutted. He got his throat slit.
Doesn't matter. Fuck this.
Yep.
Which, fun fact, the actor who played Joel thought of that and pitched it to Wes Craven. And Wes Craven was like, well, how would you leave? Cab? And that's how he leaves. He walks off, gets in a cab, and he's gone for the rest of the movie.
That's great. I'm so glad he thought of that. That's hilarious.
the smartest man in any
Yes.
slasher.
100%. Just, I read what happened to the last guy. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Gale admits to Dewey, like, I don't fucking care about the story anymore. I just want to catch whoever, since Randy was actually slightly a friend, she wants to catch whoever the hell is doing this. It does, story be damned.
Yep.
And this impassioned speech makes Dewey like, okay, you know, this killer probably wants to be close by. Let's check the tapes Joel shot and see if there's anyone who's continuously in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So they head into the school and find an open classroom with a TV and a VHS player, and they're looking it over, but also they look each other over and they kiss. An almost hard fuck on a desk.
Which, man, that sounds like it'd be uncomfortable.
Better than a beach.
That is also true. I don't like
It's
sand.
a flat surface.
I don't like sand. It's all coarse and rough. It gets on my skin.
It gets everywhere. But before they could enjoy themselves a bit more trying to solve a murder, another TV turns on. But this is footage that Gale and Joel didn't shoot. And then there's live footage looking down at them, and they see Ghostface up in the booth.
Ho-ho!
Dewey tries to run up there, but he can't find the killer. Somehow the killer made it downstairs and behind Gale.
Bullshit.
Sure. Or maybe, spoilers, both killers were there at the same time, but that's a big if.
Yeah.
No, they couldn't have been, because the other thing is going on.
Yes.
Because, well, we'll get to that in a second. Because the killer chases Gale into a recording booth, so it's all soundproofed inside. She luckily figures loses Ghostface and is hiding on the other side of the glass. However, Dewey also comes into the room, is on the other side of the glass. Ghostface comes in, stabs Dewey, and Gale can do nothing but be like, no!
Yep. And he's coughing up blood, and it's getting all over the glass, and it's kind of implied that he's dying.
Yeah, he got stabbed in the back again. Same spot, too.
Yeah.
Gale is at least smart enough to kick over a shelf to block the door, even though we saw multiple doors in that room, but moving on. Ghostface disappears. Sid and Haley are leaving to an undisclosed location because too many murders are happening, and the cops are like, we need to protect you.
Yeah.
Sid leaves Derek, and they drive off. We see shadowy figures come after Derek in the courtyard, though, but it's him getting hazed. Because after the musical number, I forgot to mention, he gave his fraternity necklace to Sydney, which is a big no-no.
Yep.
I guess. I don't know. I didn't go to a fraternity.
Me neither. So now it's time for classic fraternity antics, I guess.
Where you go to the school theater and apparently tie up your buddy really fucking well.
Yeah, just crucify your buddy. You know, classic college tactics.
It covers dick and beer.
Mm-hmm.
Cut back to the cop car with Sydney and Haley in back. They stop at a red light. It's quiet in town. Suddenly, Ghostface punches in the window, kills the driver. The other cop tries to get Ghostface. Ghostface hops into the driver's seat, tries to run over the other cop. Cop is on the hood. Then they crash into a construction site. The cop on the hood gets fucking impaled through the head. Goddamn rebar.
Right. It's always fucking rebar.
However, the car crash knocks out the killer, and the doors are jammed, so the two can't get out the back the normal way. However, the rebar did knock over the cage separating the driver and the back seat. So Sydney peels that and then slowly climbs over Ghostface. Stops for a moment, about to peel off his mask, but accidentally hits the horn and backs up.
Mm-hmm.
Decides fuck it and crawls out. Haley also crawls out. Honestly, great scene.
Yeah, honestly, like one of the best scenes of the movie. The tension is really high.
they're running away, but Sydney's like, fuck it, I need to see who's under that mask. I need to be a fighter. She goes back to the car, but the killer isn't there. Haley's in a wide shot. Oh no, she's stabbed and killed. We cut back to in the school where Gail is running around, and in the hall she runs into Kyan, whose hands are covered in blood.
Conveniently. No, it's okay. He just discovered the body of the one person.
Dewey.
Yeah, he just discovered Dewey's body. It's fine. Yeah, you look pretty bad, dude.
Also, I don't think they ever gave a reason why he was in the building.
I don't think it did either. It's just weird.
But Gail fucking runs because, Khan's caught kind of red-handed.
Literally.
Runs outside seeing Debbie on the payphone and then snatches it from her saying how Khan is the killer. Cut back to Sydney. Sydney is getting back on campus and then hears music coming from the school's theater, which, God, the sound muffling in that place must suck if you can hear it all the way outside.
Honest to goodness, like theaters usually you get like in like maybe the lobby right next to the door and you can hear it, but no, this one you can just hear everything from outside. Why pay for a ticket when you could just stand outside and listen to the music?
I mean, technically it still plays, you'd see the performance.
Yeah.
But she goes in to see what the hell is up, to find Derek crucified, and is trying to help him down, and then we get our reveal with Mickey. Do you remember Mickey?
Yeah, you guys remember Mickey from that scene in film class?
In film class, he was also in the musical scene, but after that he disappeared for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And Mickey starts to tell Sid that Derek is his partner. Derek was helping him this whole time. And Sydney, due to probably some level of PTSD, is like, shit, I don't know if I can trust you. And Derek tries to talk her into laying him loose. However, before she can really decide, Mickey shoots Derek through the chest and then even chastises Sydney for thinking that Derek was the bad guy.
Yeah, he was a great boyfriend. Really A+ material.
You just let him die. Mickey said as his plan is basically to get caught and be famous. He's gonna blame it all on the movies. The movies drove him crazy.
Yeah, that's a popular thing to blame it on, right?
Glad that trope is gone. After talking about why he's been doing this, he does admit he has a partner. And on stage left, we see Gail? No, actually, it's Debbie, or Mrs. Loomis, who has Gail at gunpoint.
Mother.
It's Billy's mother!
Holy shit! It's the perfect revenge story.
So yes, this is Miss Loomis. She's out here getting revenge for, Billy being fucking murdered. And, she also shoots Mickey because Mickey's plan was fucking stupid.
Yeah. She's like, really? The movies? You think you could blame it on that? Wow.
And also after shooting Mickey, the gun in Mickey's hand goes off and hits Gail in the stomach, in the chest, and she falls off stage.
Yep.
She'll take a nap over there for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, just right off the front of the stage. And
So Miss Loomis is a good bit pissed. But Sydney does gain the upper hand, runs backstage, blares all the music. I don't really know why. She starts cutting down ropes so like sandbags and lights start falling, trying just basically to crush Miss Loomis.
Yeah, just takes an axe and just goes to town on the console.
The fight continues until Miss Loomis eventually gets the upper hand, is about to stab Sydney, but then Khan shows up. Khan has a gun.
Yep.
Miss Loomis tries to talk him down, like, we can just blame him. We can blame her on all this. You and me can be famous. We'll be fine. And Khan says, man, that interview sure sounding better and better, huh, Sid? She says, consider it done. With that, the actress playing Miss Loomis does one of the funniest death faces I've ever seen in a movie, and then Khan shoots the shit out of her.
It's pretty great. Her reaction is like, what the fuck? So surprised.
It's just a what?
Bang.
Sydney goes over to check her body to make sure she's dead. Well, actually, first says, "Con, give me the gun." Like in the most like stone cold voice, and Con's just like, "Yeah, sure, here."
Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, it is good.
Goes to check on Miss Loomis, and then a hand grabs Sydney. It's Gail. They help Gail up, give her the second gun. They're looking over her body and like, huh. Usually they come back for one last scare. Mickey's alive. Gun him down. And then, just to be safe, Sydney shoots Miss Loomis in the forehead.
Yeah, and it's funny because if you look at when she shot Mickey, you can clearly see that's not his heart. It's like in his shoulder. You can see where she shot him, or it's like his shoulder and his stomach or something. So not like immediately fatal.
Which, fair enough.
Yeah. But
we start to wrap up. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, but yeah, moving on.
We wrap up as they're going outside. Reporters romp to Sydney, and to give Con his 5 minutes of fame, Sydney's like, "Actually, you should be asking Con. He saved the day."
Mm-hmm.
Joel even shows up to help Gail get the story, but Dewey is being wheeled out of the school, still somehow alive, and she decides this time to go with Dewey instead of going after the story.
Yep.
And Sydney walks off to somewhere. The end. Where do we start with this?
Should we get the negative out of the way or the positive? Because I feel like we should end on the positive because there's slightly more negative.
Well, I think you just answered your own question, so.
Bam. Okay. So where do we start with the negative? Pacing? I think that's the biggest issue.
Yeah, this movie could be at least 20 minutes shorter than it is.
Yeah, I mean, gonna be honest, looking at this from a movie director's point of view or like an editor's point of view, they could have totally cut like several minutes out of this movie. Like there were entire scenes that probably could have been excised, a musical number, but yeah.
Well, technically, the musical number was needed in order to have Derek get kidnapped and be at the finale.
Oh god, that's right. But still.
But that could have been written for any other reason.
Exactly. Yeah, the thing about this, and again, we still have to preface this by it's not a bad movie. It's just it has a bunch of little things that add up to like a meh experience, especially in hindsight.
Yeah, it's also some of the meta-ness, like I know some people really hate actually the scene in the film class because it sounds way too film bro-y rather than people talking about movies.
I can see that. Like, it does bring up like the really obvious choices.
And I know one of the points is that sequels do retreads. That's why the first third of this movie is kind of a retread, but
Yeah.
it's still a retread.
Yeah, it's just a lot of the meta humor, especially like if you were looking at this around the time it was released, and just in comparison to the first movie, is a lot weaker in the second movie than it is in the first. Because the first movie, I think it was just timing where it just came about at the time when horror movies were getting really stagnant and decided to openly poke fun at that. And it kind of revitalized the horror genre. And then the second one came about, like, not even, a year later?
It basically was greenlit while Scream 1 was still in theaters.
Yeah, exactly. So I think just a lot of that is just kind of weaker in comparison to the first one, because the first one probably seemed like a breath of fresh air compared to the other horror movies that were out at the time. And the second one was just like, oh, we're doing this again.
Yeah, I will say, like, the red herrings are done a bit better.
Yes.
Like, the suspicion of Derek never really leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And I know... hold on. We should focus on just the bad before getting to good.
Mm-hmm.
The soundtrack is also way too fucking loud.
Yeah. It is a weird thing with the soundtrack, because there's some scenes Like the soundtrack doesn't really, I feel, find its footing until like the last 20 minutes, which are really like probably the best part of the movie. But yeah, it's like there are scenes where like the soundtrack that is in this scene seems like it should have been a scene earlier and they would have been swapped, or it's just too loud and too bombastic at points. It's just really weird and over the top in a manner that's almost distracting.
Yeah, or sometimes it doesn't fit what is going on in the scene.
Yeah.
Like when Dewey is kind of snapping at Gale, it's still a weirdly upbeat tone.
Yeah, it's like this really whimsical, upbeat music, and it's just an odd choice for what could be like a very emotional, real conversation. It's like, oh no, this is, I guess, supposed to be comedic? At least that's what the music is telling me. It's an odd choice. And then later on, when they're like, actually finding out something, it's actually serious, or when they're doing something else, it's actually like that's sort of funnier in tone. It's actually serious music. But oh, it's serious because they're actually going to discover something at the end. So it's like, well, what was the like thought process for where you put the music here? It's strange.
Yeah, something about it just wasn't reading right a lot of the movie.
Yeah, but and not to mention it is so fucking 90s at points.
Oh my god.
Just oozes.
Like the two opening characters are talking
Ugh.
so not written by a white guy in the 90s black.
Yeah, they're like literally two black characters. It's like, oh, it's very much of the period. I will just say that.
I think there's also just not much weight to the like there's weight to Randy's kill
Yes.
and when Dewey gets attacked, but everyone else just it feels like, oh, here's another death for a slasher movie.
Yeah. It's a weird thing in tone because like in the first movie when the kills happened, when it actually got horror and very serious, the horror scenes themselves were very intense and very good. The opening scene of the first movie is considered one of the greatest opening horror scenes in horror movie history. Like it's just intense and good, and it's like really fucked up when it needs to be, but still injecting humor when it feels like it. But here it just feels like consistently it goes for almost a more corny and over the top tone, and it's just hard to take them seriously when like you have these very bombastic music stings or just this almost like very fast cinematography. Like there's not much room for breathing.
Yeah, not much room for the tension to build.
Yeah, like there's a couple of good scenes here and there. Like we said, the opening scene is good, and the tension in the car scene is also really fucking good. And then like that, the car scene in the last 20 minutes, that's about like all that we feel is like really, really solid. The rest of it just has a weird tonal issue that's just kind of hard to ignore.
And I understand that they went a little more serious with the dialogue this time, and the character interactions are
Yes.
good.
Oh yeah, the actors are still great. They all have great chemistry and all that. But yeah, it's just something about like the behind the scenes stuff that feels a little weird. And I think it's probably a good time to mention that it was really rushed and really forced because infamously there was an internet leak around the time, and they one of the extras or someone leaked what the ending was going to be and who the killers were going to be. So there were these heavy rewrites to try to throw all that off. And because of that leak, security was heavily tightened around the movie. And because of that, the actors were not given scripts, and they were only given like one page of the script, not the full script. And it wasn't even only a few days before they shot, or like the day of that they shot it. And you can kind of tell with their performances where it's like, okay, well, I need to know the previous scene, but I don't know this scene I'm shooting. So that's why the acting, I think, feels a little more stilted in this movie.
Yeah, especially from newer characters, they lose a lot of chemistry probably because of the rewrite.
Yeah, exactly. Because they read the script, went into it thinking one thing, and then it's like, oh no, here's this, you're doing this now, and they kind of had to go on the fly. So it's kind of unfortunate.
You can even. Sorry.
You're good. I was just going to say it's kind of unfortunate that happened, but.
You can even find online a picture of the final script where it's like rewrite yellow, rewrite gray, blue, red, pink.
Really?
There were several rewrites.
It was that bad. Wow. For those of you who don't know, different color paper is used to like print different like types of scripts. So it's like this color is this color is this color is this.
And I think it's Kevin Williamson was the writer.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't able to help with all the rewrites because he was busy with Dawson's Creek at the time.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, you're right, Kevin Williamson.
But yeah, that is very much felt at times. I would also bring up who the original killers were, but while looking into it, some were saying, well, Miss Loomis was always going to happen.
Okay, I like that. That was also a good part of the movie, so.
But the main thing that goes around online is saying Derek and Sydney's roommate and even Khan would have been helping the killer. However, I've also found articles from recent saying that's not what it was, so I don't know what the truth is.
So it's kind of one of those things where we don't have the original document. It's kind of just lost to hearsay and what people say happened.
Yeah.
Damn.
It is funny that Khan shows up because it's the same actor that was in the first movie for that like 3 seconds of footage of gang into a car.
Yeah, exactly. It's just odd that he kind of becomes the main character.
I'm trying to think of other negatives.
Yeah, because we talked about the music, we talked about the characters and stuff. Musical number, bad. Moving on.
The musical number's so pointless since she just breaks up with Derek
Yeah.
anyway less than 10 minutes later.
Exactly. So it just makes it fucking pointless. Like, come on now. At least if that
You're
was
already a 2-hour movie, you could wait at least a scene or two.
Yeah. That's interesting because I think you said all of the Scream movies are around 2 hours, right?
Yeah, surprisingly.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened here, but it's just another thing of editing. Other negatives. Trying to think. I'm not really sure at this point.
Ghostface does also teleport a bit in this movie.
That was the other one. That was what I was trying to think of. Yeah. Like, there's a couple of times where, like, realistically, he could not have, like, snuck up on them, or he couldn't have, like, physically gotten to that point before they realized it. Like, he becomes a little more slasher villain-y in this.
Yeah, like going from the projector room to somehow being behind Gale, or getting out of the car and then being all the way down the street by Haley.
Yep, or the aforementioned going out of the house and no one seems to fucking notice.
At least there you could maybe make the excuse of there was a lot of commotion outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Like everyone was looking away from the house.
Yep. And I don't know, to me at least, the music and the cinematography, it just felt like the story in and of itself got a little more soap opera-y than the last one, where there was actually some real weight to the characters.
Yeah, I think that's probably due to the rewrites. I know after we watched, you looked up some of the criticisms, and one of them was there was no setup for the killers.
Yeah, which in case of Mrs. Loomis, I kind of understand. Like you said, like she straight up lied about her name and we're not given any other information about until the ending.
I actually will change my opinion on that because when I was rewatching for the commentary, when Gale first shows up, if you look in the background for Miss Loomis, you can see her fucking staring daggers at Gale. Like she's always lurking in the background and always like when she isn't pretending to be this bubbly person. Fucking Dewey sets that up.
That's so interesting. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, but she's in the background lurking. You can see her staring daggers, and now I'm realizing when Dewey is trying to defend himself from Gale's book, he says, what if I'm not actually a doofus? What if it's just something I put on so that way people think I'm dumb when I'm actually smart?
Okay, shit, that's cool.
And Mickey is hinted at because he's he's carrying a camera a lot of the time, and
Yep.
that's the only way that footage would have made sense besides Joel.
Yeah, like that one I could totally see because like he clearly he's a film student. He knows way around a camera, so he's clearly able to like capture the footage and be able to know how to play it back and then cut to the live footage with a switcher board or whatever was back in the 90s. But yeah, he clearly had to have some film knowledge, so that was set up at least.
Yeah.
Um, okay, interesting. I was gonna say something else, but I forget it now.
Darn. Actually, piggybacking off Mickey being one of the killers or hinting at him, the reason the film school thing was reshot was one, Cece originally wasn't really set up before she was killed.
Really?
Yeah, originally that scene, the film school scene is actually in the room where Gail and Dewey go to look at the VHS tape.
Ah.
But they had to reshoot the scene because one, Cece wasn't set up, and two, it was just Randy and Mickey arguing, and that felt like it set up way too early a target on Mickey being the killer.
Okay, that kind of makes sense.
Which, also shooting wise, the film class scene was shot in California. The rest of the movie was shot in Georgia.
Ah, Atlanta?
No, it wasn't Atlanta. It was on some college campus elsewhere. I forget where.
Interesting.
One little thing that probably sucked. You know how everyone's in kind of fall clothes because it's a horror movie.
Yep.
Yeah, this was shot in the summer.
Oh, they must have been so hot.
Well, it would get up to 106 at 3 a.m.
Are you serious?
It was one of the hottest summers on record. It was miserable.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. Crazy how film productions have that timing sometimes. Just that perfect timing in the weather.
It makes me laugh because I think of the movie Tremors.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a scene where the main love interest like comes up to the main character's car and she's digging out in the desert. She's in like a short shirt and jorts.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, at the time it was about 30 degrees out. Between each take, she would be wrapped in blankets so she wouldn't get hypothermia.
Oh my fucking god, that must have sucked.
It's just funny how the opposites are there.
Yeah, right? That movie magic.
The movie magic of not looking like you're suffering.
Yeah. Man, some of those actors just troopers, man.
I'm trying to think of a segue onto more of the good of the movie.
Yeah. Because there is some good to this movie. Like, it's not, like, completely bad. Like, we've been shit-talking it for a while, but... Yeah, it has some good elements to it. Like, it has some... Like, it still feels very screamy, even if the meta elements are not as strong. The characters are still there. The chemistry is still there between them. And it still just has a lot of fun with its, like, setup, you know? Like, it's still a Scream movie at heart.
Yeah, it's nice to see Dewey grow. It's nice to see how Sydney's becoming more of a badass final girl.
Yep.
Gail finally gets a heart.
And they even mention, like, oh, you're becoming the, what'd they say? I don't think it was Ripley, like another horror movie type. Or no, that Linda Hamilton from Terminator. She's like, yeah, you got that little Linda Hamilton thing going on.
It's going to be surprising because I think Dewey grows the most as a character, but that's probably because he's allowed to be in the most movies.
Yeah. Like, we all know that he's not going to be the killer. Like, that was already established. And throughout the rest of the movie, he is literally just Dewey. He's a good character to rely on and bring in every once in a while when you need some help.
Sure, hope he doesn't have to do too much saving next movie.
Yeah, that was another thing I was going to bring up. The way they save Dewey is kind of bullshit, where they say, oh, he stabbed him, but they stabbed him in the scar tissue, so that saved his life. I don't think that's how that works.
No, the scar tissue is stronger, so the knife didn't go as deep.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah. He was
But he spat up blood. That's movie spitting blood. That's death.
exactly. He spat up blood and like slid down the glass as his hand was up, and she dramatically put his hand on him. Yep, nope. He is alive because of the scar tissue. Okay.
Sorry to cut you off. Editing is weird.
You're fine, man. What was I going on about?
Shit.
Oh yeah, going on about shit. Okay. But
Dream 2.
Electric Boogaloo. Anyway. Sorry, it's just kind of a reflex at this point. But yeah, no. Sorry.
No, it's just like I literally can't stop myself. You're hiding from a killer.
Exactly.
Scream 2. Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Damn it.
And another thing I will say we have to disagree with in the reviewers is that like they felt that Randy's death was kind of unwarranted and everyone was so sad about it, but it's like it kind of makes sense in the context of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it's sad because he was an awesome character, but also that's what raises the stakes. If all of them made it to the end of the movie again, it would have been like, okay, these guys are just immortal. You don't have to worry about them.
Yeah, exactly. It would have established these characters are like bulletproof until the sequel or whatever. And all that meta talk about the sequel raising the stakes would have been made kind of pointless because it would have just been a retread. But no, yeah, it's a good way to raise the stakes and be like, oh no, we can kill anyone at this point.
It also felt smart because Dewey and Randy had a conversation in a diner talking about sequels, which also hints at the twist because Randy said as how Mrs. Voorhees is a great twist.
Yup, the mother, yep.
But at that point, we're also thinking that this movie is going to be a retread, so killing Randy throws off that scent, basically.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice natural way to progress it. Oh yeah, that was the other negative. That was the one other negative I was going to bring up, was that there's no way that she could have thrown him off that easily.
Oh, Cece's death. Yeah, that's more of a nitpick.
Yeah, it's more of a nitpick, but still.
The way Ghostface picks up Cece and tosses her over the edge, it's like so easily and swiftly. Neither Mickey nor Miss Loomis look strong enough to do that.
Yeah, it's almost like a ballet just jumping. Whoop! But yeah, it's just a solid movie where you know when it's good, it's really good, but it has just enough like negative about it that it's like, doesn't really live up to some of the other sequels and the first movie. I
think also just the fact it played it serious, it lost a bit of the spice of the original Scream.
Yeah, exactly.
But we can't just rate it that way. We, of course, have rated every movie we've ever covered with our patented rating system.
Mm-hmm. It's always been there.
It's always been the same. So, of course, with Scream 2, if Scream 2 was a Klondike bar, what would you do to get said Klondike bar?
I don't know that I'd do anything too extreme to get the Klondike bar. I'd say I'd just like, I don't know, like, are we talking like physically or mentally or like what? What are the stakes here? Like on a scale of what?
It's very open to interpretation, as we've always had it.
Yes. I would say I wouldn't do anything for it, but I would say that I do just a little bit for it. It's more Scream. It's more fun. It has some good bits, but it's not something I go out of my way to get, you know?
It's like, it needs to be just like, if there was a slight challenge to it, fine. If it's actually difficult, I wouldn't do anything. Maybe 10 push-ups.
Yeah.
For a Klondike bar.
Yeah. I'd say that's about accurate. Would I climb a tree for it? Sure. Would I, like, dangle from the tree or do anything stupid on the tree? No. No, I wouldn't.
Anyway. That's it. That's about our thoughts on Scream 2. I think, at least.
I think at least.
But that means we're on the series wheel. The series wheel is full of a bunch of series that you know of. So that way when we watch one of the movies, you can be like, wow, I know this movie. Hey, buddy of mine. You should
Wow.
listen to this podcast. It covered this movie we have seen.
Exactly. Tell your friends.
I assume you all talk that naturally to your friends.
Tell your friends. Tell your wife.
And as mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we have Alien on here, which we haven't landed on since episode 56.
Yep.
And if we don't land on it this spin or next spin, we're just chopping it off.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause you know what? We have a lot of movies to cover.
Yes,
and
we do.
It would be nice to not keep this forever.
It really would. I'd love to move on to bigger and better things to fuel our creativity. But we committed to this,
Yeah.
damn it.
Our creativity. You can tell by our opening jokes. Anyway,
They have been great as of lately.
it is time to
Vincent!
Okay.
What we get? What we get?
We're going back to Mad Max for the one some people enjoy of Fury Road.
Oh, it's time for Fury Road, baby.
Who doesn't like Fury Road?
Honest to God, though. One of the greatest action movies ever made.
Yeah, solid 7 out of 10.
Our normal
Sorry,
rating
cut there.
system.
Our normal rating system, exactly.
But yeah, super hyped for that. All right, Mad Max. Almost done with that one too.
Actually, let me double check something real quick.
Hmm.
No, okay. After Mad Max will technically be the anniversary episode and then the final episode of the year.
Nice.
So we're gonna have to figure that out to record that at some point.
Yep.
But that's future us problem.
Exactly.
Segue us out so I can cut to the credits as a funny bit.
Sound.